Good day, everybody. I'm Shmee, and I was going to play a shaman with last Epoch's 1.0 release, but of course, the devs just had to go and make a major mechanical change. So today, I'm back to show you my planned league starter for last Epoch's launch tomorrow. Here's my guide for how to create a cycle-starting, big army PhysCrit Necromancer. If you're enjoying the content, please hit that like button and feel free to subscribe if you'd like to see more. The reason I can't get this build out of my head is because of a change that's coming in the 1.0 launch. The increased minion damage modifier on weapons is changing so that it adds flat damage instead of a percentage increased damage. If it doesn't stand out to you why this matters so much, realize that this is the skeleton minion's base attack. 18 base damage. That's it. Prior to the change, you could get some flat added damage, but only in rare and sporadic instances, generally on things like uniques, passive tree, skills, specializations, things like that. Not only is this build already solid, but by my estimate, it's going to have its damage a little bit shy of doubled with the new minion damage affix. In this build, we're going to take advantage of that change and maximize it by making as big of a streamlined army as we can. All 23 of your minions will be dealing melee physical damage. That's 9 skeletons, 5 death knights, 4 transplant bone minions, 3 skeletal vanguards, 2 bone golems, and Anyway, you will be able to simultaneously stack the same damage type on 23 melee physical minions, and you won't get there until the endgame, but the endgame development is about adding minion crit into the mix to further scale your damage. For your skills, you're going to use Summon Skeletons, Transplant, Summon Skeletal Mage, Bone Golem, and Bone Curse. You're also going to specialize them in that order. Now, instead of telling you individually how to level all of your skills, they really all follow the same development pattern. First, get as many total minions as possible, then get attack speed for those minions, and then develop their damage. Now, I'm going to briefly toss them up on the screen, but the reality is it's always that pattern. Minion count, then attack speed, then damage. Now, the passive tree gets kind of weird, but mostly it's because the prerequisites completely handcuff you in the Necromancer tree. When you first fill out your base Acolyte tree, the only real requirements are 5 points in Forbidden Knowledge, 5 points in Dark Rituals, and then the 1 point here in Soul Aegis. Generally, you're going to struggle with toughness more than damage in this build, so the other 10 points in your base tree should probably go to some kind of defense. Now, when I say that the mastery tree gets handcuffed, here's what I mean. In the Necro tree, you want Aegis Fall and Unbound Necromancer early. That requires 3 points in Cursed Blood and 5 in Moral Tether. Now, you should start with 5 in Risen Army. Remember to always put an extreme value on minion attack speed. But that means you then have to immediately start working on your prerequisites, and it gives you just 1 leftover point to also put into Risen Army. As you develop into the right side of the tree, you'd love to take all of the added and increased damage and attack speed passives right away, but again, you need to start working on your prereqs for Tyrant's Legion, Cling to Life, Empty the Graves, and Disciples of Necromancy. Then, once your prereqs are filled, you get just enough points to max Frantic Summons, which conveniently will also be a prereq for our late game crit passives. Your Necromancer tree is weird because it basically fills itself out through the campaign and will be fully set up right about the time you hit the endgame. Keep in mind that you won't get to max out all of those juicy damage passives until you're well into that endgame. Just remember the pattern. Minion count, attack speed, then damage. Now, in terms of an endgame level 100 plan, there are a few options that I think you need to keep open. First, I think what you're seeing here on screen would be ideal as a minimum. It'll be best to pretty much go all in on the Necro tree because you don't get very much out of Lich or Warlock. The real question is going to be how we spend these last 11 points. We get so many minions that they attack so often that I don't think having more than 100% armor shred chance on our minions is going to be that beneficial, but I could be wrong. If we focus on getting more minion life and defense, then we could gear more for damage. We can also increase our own health a lot by maxing out Tyrant, so I'm not really sure, and this is going to have to come down to testing. But either way, I played it yesterday, and I know that this build is already strong, and it's getting a significant buff. You can waltz through echoes with your gigantic undead army as a true master summoner. And while everybody else seems to be shrieking about how OP they know the Warlock and Falconer are going to be, I'm going to be placing my bets on something that's already proven. Tomorrow morning, when 1.0 launches, I will be playing this big army PhysCrit Necromancer. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, take care, everybody.